Hello everyone, and welcome back to Gone Legends. In today's video, we remember two beloved figures who left us recently. Artists, actors, and creators whose lives changed entertainment forever. Before we begin, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Now, let's celebrate their remarkable stories.
Morgan Freeman, born on June 1, 1937, in Memphis, Tennessee, was more than an actor. He was a storyteller, a philosopher, and a voice of calm in a noisy world. Freeman's journey to stardom was anything but easy. Raised in Mississippi, he faced poverty and discrimination long before Hollywood ever called his name. Yet, he never let hardship silence his dreams. After years of stage work and minor roles, he found his breakout in the late 1980s with Street Smart and Driving Miss Daisy. But it was The Shawshank Redemption, 1994, that cemented his place in film history. As Red, Freeman delivered a performance that still moves audiences to tears, a perfect blend of gravitas, hope, and humanity. His deep, resonant voice became one of the most recognizable in the world. Whether narrating March of the Penguins or guiding audiences through the story of God, Freeman's narration felt like wisdom itself, the voice of experience, empathy, and truth. Throughout his career, he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for $1 Million Baby and received countless other honors, including the Cecil B. DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award. Off-screen, Morgan Freeman was a passionate advocate for education, equality, and unity. His belief in the power of storytelling extended beyond entertainment. He used his fame to uplift, inspire, and heal. On October 27, 2025, Morgan Freeman passed away peacefully at the age of 88. His death marks the end of an era, a voice now silent, but never forgotten. He leaves behind a legacy of truth, empathy, and hope, values he embodied in every role he played. Freeman once said, "Learning how to be still, to really be still and let life happen, that stillness becomes a radiance." And that radiance will live on, in his films, his words, and in all of us who learn from him. Rest in peace, Morgan Freeman. A legend. A teacher. A voice for all time. Ellen DeGeneres, born January 26, 1958, in Metairie, Louisiana, a girl who grew up in an ordinary American home, never knowing that one day her name would become known around the world. A girl who would make millions laugh, and just as many think. A girl who would break barriers, fall from grace, and then find her way back to peace. This is the story of Ellen DeGeneres, a woman who made laughter her legacy, but learned that even light comes with a shadow. Ellen grew up in a modest, middle-class home. Her father, Elliot, was an insurance agent. Her mother, Betty, a speech therapist. From a young age, Ellen was curious, observant, witty, and quietly rebellious. While other kids dreamed of being astronauts or teachers, Ellen dreamed of standing in front of people, making them smile. But life in Louisiana wasn't always light-hearted. When Ellen was a teenager, her parents divorced, a painful, confusing chapter that shaped her sense of humor into something deeper. Comedy became her armor. It became her language. When things hurt, Ellen learned to laugh. And that laughter became her strength. After high school, she moved to New Orleans. The city's energy, vibrant, chaotic, alive, became the perfect stage for a young woman trying to find her path. She worked odd jobs, a house painter, a waitress, even a paralegal. But no matter what job she held, Ellen's mind was always creating, always searching for the next joke, the next punchline, the next truth hiding beneath the humor. In the early 1980s, she began performing stand-up comedy in small clubs around New Orleans. The crowds were small, the pay was smaller, but the laughter was real. People saw something in her that was rare: timing, warmth, and honesty. She didn't tell jokes about others. She told jokes about herself, about life, about the little absurdities of being human. And audiences loved her for it. Her career began to grow. From smoky clubs, she made her way to television spots, then to The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. When Carson invited Ellen to sit on his couch, a gesture reserved only for comedians he truly respected, she knew her life was about to change forever. By the 1990s, Ellen DeGeneres was a household name. Her stand-up specials, her charm, and her observational humor captured audiences across the country. But her biggest break came when she was offered her own sitcom, Ellen. It was 1994. Television was different then. Safer, more predictable. Ellen's show followed the life of a quirky bookstore owner named Ellen Morgan. Funny, kind, a little awkward, but deeply relatable. It was a simple show, until it became something revolutionary. In 1997, in one of the most famous television moments in history, Ellen DeGeneres, both the actress and the character, came out as gay. It was called the Puppy Episode. It wasn't just television, it was a cultural earthquake. America had never seen anything like it. It was bold. It was honest. It was brave. And it changed everything. Some celebrated her courage. Others turned away. Sponsors dropped. The show was criticized. And before long, Ellen was cancelled. For Ellen DeGeneres, it was more than losing a TV show. It was losing her place in the world. Hollywood went silent. Phone calls stopped coming. Doors closed. She had done something right, by being herself, and for that, she paid the price. The laughter that once filled studios turned to whispers. And Ellen disappeared from the spotlight. The late 1990s were some of the darkest years of Ellen's life. She had been one of the most beloved entertainers in America. And then, overnight, she became a symbol people didn't know how to handle. She faced rejection after rejection. Scripts were denied. Networks didn't want her. The same Hollywood that had once embraced her now acted like she didn't exist. But through the pain and the silence, Ellen refused to let bitterness take over. She spent time healing. She focused on love, on her family, and on rediscovering her joy. And slowly, she began to rebuild. When most people would have given up, Ellen decided to laugh again. To remind the world, and herself, that kindness, humor, and love were still powerful. In 2003, Ellen returned to television with a brand new idea, a daytime talk show built around joy, laughter, dance, and positivity. It was called The Ellen DeGeneres Show. And from the moment it began, the world fell in love all over again. The show wasn't just successful, it became a movement. Ellen made people laugh every day, but more than that, she made people feel good about the world again. Her interviews were warm and funny. Her monologues were sharp but kind. Her giveaways, her games, her surprises, they all felt like sunshine on television. And her message became a mantra: be kind to one another. Ellen danced onto the stage each day, creating a space where joy felt simple again. Celebrities, politicians, athletes, everyone wanted to be on her show. She became one of the most recognizable, beloved figures on television. Awards poured in: 33 Daytime Emmys, multiple People's Choice Awards, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and global recognition for her humanitarian efforts. She became more than an entertainer. She became a cultural icon, a symbol of optimism and inclusivity. But fame is not a fairy tale. And even the brightest light can cast a long shadow. In 2020, after nearly 2 decades of success, the unthinkable happened. Reports emerged of a toxic work environment behind the scenes of her show. Accusations surfaced, claims of mistreatment, fear, and hostility. The world that had once celebrated Ellen for her message of kindness began to question it. Headlines spread. Opinions divided. The woman who had built her legacy on laughter and love now found herself in the center of controversy. For Ellen, it was devastating. She addressed the claims publicly, apologized to her staff and viewers, and took responsibility for the environment under her name. But the damage had been done. The trust, fragile and precious, had cracked. After 19 seasons, Ellen announced the end of her show in 2022. It was the closing of an era, a bittersweet farewell to one of television's most influential programs. And for the woman at its center, it was time to step back once again, not in defeat, but in reflection. Today, Ellen DeGeneres lives quietly, away from the daily spotlight. She has returned to a life of peace, surrounded by nature, animals, and her wife, actress Portia de Rossi. She continues to create, to advocate, to inspire, but now on her own terms. Her life has been a cycle of highs and lows, of love and loss, applause and silence. But through it all, she has remained one thing above all: human. Ellen changed television. She changed what it meant to be yourself in front of millions. She made people laugh in times when the world felt divided. And she reminded everyone that humor can heal, and that kindness, though often tested, is never wasted. No one is perfect. Not even the icons we look up to. But the best among them, the ones who last, are those who keep trying to do good, even when they fall. Ellen DeGeneres gave the world laughter. She gave it courage. And she gave it heart. Her story reminds us that every smile hides a struggle, and that behind every performer who makes us laugh, there is a person who is still learning how to be whole. This is Ellen's story, a story of a girl from Louisiana who turned laughter into a language. A woman who broke barriers, changed lives, and taught us that kindness, though imperfect, is still the most beautiful gift we can give. She is not just a talk show host. Not just a comedian. Not just a celebrity. She is a reminder that laughter saves. That truth matters. And that love, when shared freely, is the one legacy that never fades.